5 minutes. That is the distance between where you stand now and the empire you are destined to build. It is not a matter of years, nor degrees, nor the chaotic spinning of the wheel of fortune. It is a matter of a decision so sharp, so final, that it cuts the tether to your past and releases the leviathan of your potential. You have been told that wealth is a result of labor, of luck, of grinding your bones to dust in the machinery of the world. But I tell you today that wealth is a result of command. We live in a universe that operates on law, not on chance. The stars do not wander, they follow a path. The seasons do not guess, they obey a cycle. And money, success, influence, these are not wild animals roaming the plains of destiny, waiting to be caught by the lucky few. They are energies. They are frequencies. And like all energies in this electric universe, they obey the mind that knows how to command them. Most men live their entire lives in a posture of begging. They wake up and beg the day to be easy. They go to work and beg the boss for approval. They look at their bank accounts and beg the numbers to change. They pray to God not with faith, but with a trembling hope that implies doubt. Please, they whisper, let me survive. And so the universe, which is a mirror of your deepest conviction, reflects that begging back to them. It gives them survival. It gives them the bare minimum. Because the law is exact, you do not get what you want, you get what you are. But there is another breed of human being, the one who understands the secret I am about to reveal. This individual does not ask the world for permission. They do not wait for the economy to improve. They do not look for a savior. They look into the mirror and see the generator of their own circumstance. They understand that before a dollar can touch the hand, it must first be manufactured in the workshop of the mind. They do not wish for wealth. They command it, not with arrogance, but with the quiet, terrifying certainty of a captain who knows the ship must turn when he spins the wheel. This comes down to a simple 5-minute window, a ritual of the soul, a moment where you stop reacting to the noise of the world and start broadcasting your own signal. You must understand that your brain is a broadcasting station. Every thought you think releases a vibration into the ether. Most people broadcast static, fear, worry, doubt, confusion. And so their lives are static, broken, interrupted, unclear. But the commander broadcasts a pure, unadulterated signal of, I have. Think of the great titans of history. Think of Andrew Carnegie, a man who began as a bobbin boy in a factory, dirt under his fingernails, poverty wrapping him like a cold coat. How did he rise to control the steel of a nation? Was it merely hard work? Thousands worked harder than him and died poor. No, Carnegie discovered that the mind must travel to the destination first. He understood the principle of the definite chief aim. He stopped seeing himself as a laborer and began commanding the identity of a king. He did not say, I hope to be rich. He said, I will organize the steel industry. The difference is subtle in words, but infinite in power. Or consider Henry Ford. The engineers, the experts, the men of logic told him the V8 engine was a physical impossibility. They had the degrees. They had the facts. But Ford had the command. He told them, produce it anyway. He did not accept the reality that was presented to him. He imposed his own reality upon the world. He held the image of that engine in his mind with such ferocious intensity that the physical world had no choice but to bend, to warp, to reconfigure itself to match his vision. That is the power of command. You are standing on a gold mine, but you are digging with a teaspoon because you do not believe you are the owner of the land. You think wealth is something you must chase, but wealth is something you must become. The 5 minutes I am asking for is the time it takes to rewire the circuitry of your belief. It is the time it takes to stand before the infinite intelligence and declare your heritage. The process begins with a shift in your vocabulary, not just the words you speak to others, but the silent monologue you scream at yourself all day long. You must cease the language of lack. I can't afford it. I don't know how. It's too hard. These are the mantras of the slave. The commander says, how can I afford it? I will find the way. The difficulty is the path. When you change the structure of your speech, you change the structure of your mind. We are talking about a chemical change in the brain. Napoleon Hill called it the Transmutation of thought. When you mix a thought with the emotion of burning desire and faith, it ceases to be a mere static impulse. It becomes magnetic. It goes out into the vast ocean of the ether and begins to attract its physical counterpart. This is not magic, it is mechanics. It is the physics of the soul. But you must be definite. The universe cannot fulfill a vague order. You cannot go to the restaurant of life and say, "Give me some food." You will starve. You must say, "Bring me the steak, rare." You must say to life, "I demand financial freedom, specifically in the amount of," and you must name the figure. You must name the date. You must name the service you will render in return. This is the contract you sign with yourself. The reason you have not commanded wealth yet is that you have been afraid of your own power. You have been taught to be small. You have been taught that humility means poverty. But true humility is accepting the greatness of the Creator within you and allowing it to expand. Poverty is not a virtue. It is a mental disease. It is a restriction of the life force. To command wealth is to command life to flow more abundantly through you so that you may be of greater service, greater power, and greater good. This 5-minute command is not a plea. It is a decree. It is a standing order to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is the giant that never sleeps. It runs your heart, your digestion, your healing, and it runs your destiny. But it is a blind giant. It will build a palace or a prison with equal enthusiasm, depending on the blueprint you give it. If you feed it fear, it will build you a wall of limitations. If you feed it the command of wealth, it will build you a bridge to fortune. So, are you ready to stop drifting? Are you ready to take the helm? The storm may rage, the waves may crest, but the commander does not fear the water. He uses the wind that seeks to capsize him to drive him forward. The command begins in the silence of your own heart, but it must roar louder than your doubts. It starts now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. You will never feel ready. You must decide to be ready. The first minute of your new life is the minute of decision. The decision that poverty is no longer an option. The decision that mediocrity is a sin against your potential. You must draw a line in the sand of your history and say, "Here, the old me dies. Here, the commander is born." And once that decision is made, once the line is drawn, you enter the second phase of the transformation. This is where the heat is applied. This is where the raw ore of your intention is forged into the steel of reality. A decision without a fire under it is cold and brittle. It will shatter at the first sign of resistance. To command wealth, you must ignite the furnace of obsession. Napoleon Hill spoke of a burning desire. Do not mistake this for a wish. A wish is a vapor. It rises and dissipates with the wind. A burning desire is a consuming fire. It is the state of mind where the outcome is not just preferred, it is essential. It is as necessary as the air you breathe. When you are underwater, you do not wish for air. You do not hope for air. You command every cell in your body to fight for the surface. You must want success with that same primal, non-negotiable intensity. This is where most people falter. They say they want to be wealthy, but their desire is weak. It is a "wouldn't it be nice" kind of desire. And because it is weak, their actions are weak. When the first obstacle appears, when the bank says no, when the video gets 0 views, when the product fails, the wisher collapses. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, they say. That is the lie of the drifter. The commander looks at the failure and sees it not as a stop sign, but as a toll booth. The price must be paid, and the coin is persistent. Think of Thomas Edison. We glorify the light bulb, but we forget the darkness he stood in for years. 10,000 times nature told him no. 10,000 times the physical evidence screamed, "It cannot be done." A normal man, a reasonable man, would have quit at 100, a stubborn man at 1,000. But Edison was not merely stubborn, he was possessed by a definite chief aim. He did not see 10,000 failures. He saw the elimination of 10,000 ways that did not work, bringing him mathematically closer to the one way that did. He commanded the light to appear, and eventually, nature had to yield. You must understand that the universe often tests the validity of your command before it fulfills it. This is the testing time. It is the period where you are doing the work, saying the affirmations, holding the vision, And yet, nothing seems to be happening. The bank account is still low. The progress is invisible. This is the valley of shadows. And this is where the pretenders are weeded out from the masters. The universe is asking you, do you really believe? Or are you just mouthing the words? If you give up because you don't see immediate results, you prove that you never really believed. You were looking for proof outside before you established the truth inside. But the law of command dictates that the evidence follows the belief. You must believe it is yours before you can see it. You must walk, talk, and act as the wealthy person you are becoming, even when your pockets are empty. This is not delusion. This is the architecture of faith. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence. Faith is the only known method of voluntary communication with the force that created the galaxies. And how do you develop this faith? You cannot simply demand it. You must cultivate it through repetition. This brings us back to the daily decree, the 5 minutes. You must hammer the command into your own mind until the doubts are pulverized. You must repeat your vision, your goal, your definite purpose, morning and night. You must say it with emotion. You must say it with gratitude. I am so happy and grateful now. Why gratitude? Because gratitude is the signature of receiving. You say, thank you, when you have already received a gift. When you thank the infinite intelligence for your wealth before it arrives, you are tricking the linear time of the ego. You are telling the universe, it is done. And the universe, which operates in the eternal now, aligns with that reality. But be warned, as you begin to command, as you begin to rise, a force will rise to meet you. Hill called it the devil, but we can call it resistance, fear, or the old paradigm. It lives in your own mind, and it lives in the skepticism of those around you. Friends who tell you to be realistic. Family who reminds you of your past failures. This is the gravity of mediocrity trying to pull you back into orbit. You must become immune to the opinions of others. You must build a mental wall around your vision. Inside that wall, you are the king. Outside, let them talk. Let them doubt. Their doubt has no power over you unless you give it entry. You must guard the door of your mind more jealously than you guard the door of your home. If a thief enters your home, he steals your television. If a negative thought enters your mind, it steals your destiny. This is why you need a mastermind. You cannot hold the command alone forever. You need to surround yourself with other commanders. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. If you are the most ambitious person in your circle is a cage. You need to find the people who are playing the game at a level that scares you. Their vibration will pull you up. Their normalcy must become your new standard. If you cannot find them in person, find them in books, in audio, in the spirits of the great men and women of history. Make Napoleon Hill your mentor. Make Rockefeller your silent partner. Sit in the imaginary council with them every day during your 5 minutes. Ask them, what would you do? And listen for the answer. The answer will come. It may not come as a booming voice from the clouds. It will come as a hunch, a sudden idea, an impulse to call a certain person, to drive down a certain street, to buy a certain book. This is the language of the subconscious delivering the plan. And this is the most critical moment of the command. When the idea comes, you must act. Command without action is merely a daydream. The universe loves speed. When the portal opens, you must walk through it. You cannot analyze it to death. You cannot wait for a guarantee. The guarantee is in the action itself. You must move with what Hill called organized planning. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step, but you must take that step with force. You must replace the habit of procrastination with the habit of immediate execution. The commander decides quickly and changes his mind slowly. The drifter decides slowly and changes his mind quickly. Which one are you? Look at your life right now. Where are you hesitating? Where are you waiting for perfect? Perfect is the enemy of done. Perfect is the mask of fear. Break the mask. Launch the imperfect product. Make the awkward call. Write the messy first draft. The clay must be thrown on the wheel before it can be shaped. You are the potter, and action is your hands. The transition from the mental command to the physical equivalent requires a bridge, and that bridge is built of labor. But it is not the labor of the slave, it is the labor of love. It is work done in the spirit of joy, because you know the outcome is inevitable. You are not working for the money, you are working from the vision. The money is simply the applause of the world for the value you have created. This brings us to the law of compensation. You cannot command wealth without commanding value. You cannot get something for nothing. That is the gambler's fallacy, and it leads to ruin. To command great wealth, you must command great service. You must become a person of value. You must solve a problem for others. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger the wealth that flows to you. Ask yourself, how can I render more service than I am paid for? This is the principle of going the extra mile. It sounds old-fashioned, but it is the secret weapon of the elite. Most people do exactly enough to not get fired. They are transaction-minded. I will do this if you pay me for it. The commander is investment-minded. I will do 10 times more than you expect, and I will make myself indispensable. When you become indispensable, you write your own check. You command the market, because the market cannot afford to lose you. And as you push forward, rendering this service, pouring your spirit into your work, walking the extra mile when others are sleeping, you will encounter the greatest paradox of success. You will find that the closer you get to the gold, the harder the ground becomes. The resistance intensifies. It is as if the universe is applying a final pressure test to the vessel to ensure it can hold the fortune you have commanded. This is the moment where the hidden guide steps in. Napoleon Hill discovered that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Read that again in your soul. The seed is there, but it is a seed, not a fruit. You must find it, plant it, and water it. When the deal falls through, the average man curses his luck. The commander asks, where is the seed? Perhaps the failed deal saved you from a disastrous partnership. Perhaps it forced you to refine your product, making it superior. Perhaps it humbled you, removing the arrogance that would have destroyed you later. There is always a seed, but only the eye of faith can see it. You must cultivate the ability to transmute emotion. You will feel anger. You will feel frustration. You will feel sexual energy. These are all high-octane fuels. Most men waste them. They blow their anger in an argument. They dissipate their sexual energy in frivolous pursuit. They let frustration turn into depression. The commander builds a dam and channels this river. He takes the anger at his poverty and turns it into the drive to work 18 hours a day. He takes the sexual energy and transmutes it into creative imagination, into charisma, into the magnetic force that draws people to him. You are a transformer of energy. You take the raw, chaotic energy of the world and run it through the engine of your definite purpose, turning it into order, into structure, into wealth. This requires a discipline that is ironclad, not the discipline of a schoolmaster with a ruler, but the discipline of a lover protecting his beloved. You love your vision too much to let it be derailed by a moment of weakness. Self-discipline is the master key. It is the ability to make yourself do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Feelings are good servants, but terrible masters. If you only work when you feel inspired, you will be a hobbyist, not a tycoon. You must command your body. You must command your schedule. You must command your habits. Watch your time. Time is the only currency you cannot earn back. The 5 minutes I asked for at the beginning. How many 5-minute blocks do you waste in a day? Doom scrolling on screens, gossiping about things that do not concern you. Reliving the past hurts. Every minute you give to the trivial is a minute you stole from your empire. You must become ruthless with your focus. Focus is the concentration of power. A laser beam is just light, but it is focused light, and it can cut through steel. Your mind, when focused on one single definite chief aim, can cut through any obstacle. You cannot chase 2 rabbits. You cannot serve 2 masters. You must choose. What is Owen Thing? What is the single greatest ambition of your life? Once you identify it, write it down. not on a digital note that gets lost in the cloud. Write it on paper. The connection between the hand and the brain is primal. I have commanded. Write it in the present tense. Read it aloud. Let your voice vibrate in your own chest. Hear the sound of your own authority. Now look at the person you see in the mirror. That person, as they are now, is not capable of holding the wealth you desire. If they were, they would already have it. This is a hard truth. You must be willing to kill the old self to birth the new one. You must let go of the habits, the friends, the entertainments, and the identity of the struggling person. You are entering a chrysalis. It is dark, it is tight, it is uncomfortable, but it is the only way to fly. This transformation requires auto-suggestion. You must act as the guardian of your subconscious. You must feed it positive, empowering, dominant thoughts until the weeds of fear are choked out. You must visualize your success not as a static picture, but as a movie. See yourself signing the checks. Feel the leather of the chair in your new office. Smell the ocean air from the balcony of the home you provide for your family. Feel the handshake of the people thanking you for your service. You must emotionalize this vision until it brings tears to your eyes. Those tears are the physical manifestation of your belief. They are proof that the vibration has reached the subconscious. When you can cry tears of gratitude for something that hasn't happened yet, you have bent time. You have commanded reality. And do not fear the how. The how is the domain of infinite intelligence. Your job is the what and the why. If your why is strong enough, the how will reveal itself. It might come in a way you never expected. It might look like a disaster at first. The loss of a job might be the how that forces you to start the business you were destined to run. The breakup might be the how that clears the space for the partner who will build the empire with you. Trust the intelligence of the universe. It sees around corners you cannot see. Your only job is to hold the frequency, to stand on the deck of your ship in the middle of the hurricane and refuse to lower the sail, to say to the storm, I am the captain here. Remember the story of the great warrior who landed his army on the enemy's shore. He saw that his men were outnumbered and afraid. He gave the order to burn their own ships. As the wooden hulls turned to ash and sank into the sea, he turned to his men and said, Now, we have no choice. We win or we perish. They won. You must burn your ships. You must cut off the retreat. You must eliminate the plan B that allows you to settle for a mediocre life if the dream doesn't work. There is no if. There is only when. When you put your back against the wall, when you give yourself no option but victory, you tap into a reservoir of power that the comfortable man never knows exists. The survival instinct, usually reserved for staying alive, is hijacked and repurposed for becoming great. This is the all-in mentality. It is terrifying. It is exhilarating. It is the only way to live. Why would you want to live a safe, small life? You are a biological miracle. You are the result of billions of years of evolution. The blood of survivors, of conquerors, of kings and queens runs in your veins. To play small is an insult to your ancestors and a betrayal of your Creator. Command your space. When you walk into a room, walk in with purpose, shoulders back, head high. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. You are on a mission. People will sense it. They will move out of your way, or they will follow you. The world is looking for leadership. It is starving for certainty. Be the person who offers that certainty. And as you embody this certainty, as you walk through the fires of your own transformation, you will reach the final realization. The wealth you seek, the numbers, the assets, the gold, is merely a symbol. It is the shadow cast by the substance of your character. The true wealth is the person you have become in the process of commanding it. You have become a master of self. You have conquered the only enemy that ever mattered, the enemy within. You have looked fear in the face and made it your servant. You have taken the chaotic, drifting energies of your mind and organized them into a laser of intent. You have aligned with the laws of the universe. This is the ultimate secret that Napoleon Hill whispered through the ages. The goal is not the money. The goal is mastery. The money is just the scorecard. It is the inevitable byproduct of a mind that has tuned itself to the frequency of abundance. Once you have the frequency, you can lose the money and make it back in a fraction of the time, because you are no longer trying to find the station, you are the station. So, let us return to the 5 minutes. The 5 minutes that change everything. Tomorrow morning, before the world wakes up, before the phone buzzes, before the demands of the day try to steal your soul, you will steal it back. You will find a quiet place. You will close your eyes. You will breathe in the breath of life, and you will issue your command. You will say, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. You will visualize the person you intend to be. You will see them standing tall, benevolent, powerful, and wealthy. You will step into their body. You will feel their heartbeat. You will say, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward, physical action, and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture. You will acknowledge the law of compensation. You will say, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. And finally, you will sign your name to this decree in the ledger of your heart. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me, because I will believe in them and in myself. This is not poetry. This is programming. This is you, the programmer, rewriting the code of your existence. Do not let a single day pass without this command. If you miss a day, you slide back. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, and it is the price of wealth. You are building a momentum that will eventually become unstoppable. At first, it is like pushing a heavy flywheel. It takes great effort to get it to move an inch. But you keep pushing, you keep commanding, you keep acting, and soon the wheel begins to turn. It gains speed, and eventually the momentum of the wheel takes over, and it spins with a force that nothing can stop. That is the compound interest of the daily decree. So I ask you one last time, are you just watching a video? Or are you initiating a new timeline? The 5 minutes is starting. The clock is ticking. The world is waiting for your command. Infinite intelligence is listening, pen in hand, ready to write what you dictate. Do not whisper. Do not stutter. Do not apologize. Stand up. Speak up. Look toward the horizon of your destiny and give the order. Command the wealth. Command the health. Command the life that belongs to you by divine right. The power is not out there. It is in you. It has always been in you. It is waiting for your voice. Give me 5 minutes. No. Give yourself the rest of your life. Start now. But let us not deceive ourselves with the romance of the start. The start is easy. Anyone can declare a revolution in a moment of heated emotion. The true test, the test that separates the legends from the lost, arrives in the silence that follows. It arrives on Tuesday morning 3 weeks from now, when the adrenaline has faded, when the results have not yet appeared, and when the old world reaches out with its cold, dead hands to pull you back into line. Napoleon Hill warned of a force more dangerous than poverty, more insidious than failure. He called it hypnotic rhythm. It is the silent, rhythmic swinging of the pendulum of habit. It is the psychological gravity that keeps the masses drifting in a trance of mediocrity. Look around you. Look at the eyes of the people on the subway, in the traffic jams, in the fluorescent aisles of the supermarkets. They are good people, but they are asleep. They have been hypnotized by the rhythm of safety, of conformity, of getting by. They drift through school. They drift into a job they tolerate. They drift into a marriage of convenience. And they drift to the grave. When you issue your command for wealth, you are declaring war on this rhythm. You are attempting to break the hypnotic spell. And the universe will fight back. It will try to sedate you. It will send distractions, the endless scroll of the screen, the petty dramas of the neighborhood, the numbing comfort of cheap entertainment. These are not innocent pastimes. They are the weapons of the drift. They are designed to consume the very time and energy you need to build your empire. To escape this gravity, you must become a non-drifter. The non-drifter is a person who has a mind of their own and uses it. They do not let the newspaper decide their opinion. They do not let the economy decide their net worth. They do not let their past decide their future. They are possessed by a definite major purpose that acts as a shield against the hypnotic rhythm. When the world says, stop, the non-drifter says, move. When the world says, impossible, the non-drifter says, watch. This requires a level of mental hardness that most people are terrified to cultivate. You must become unreasonable. Reason says to play it safe. Reason says to hoard what little you have. The reason is that you are tired. But wealth is not attracted to reason, it is attracted to obsession. You must be willing to look foolish to the drifters. They will laugh at your early mornings. They will mock your affirmations. They will sneer at your discipline. Let them. Their laughter is the sound of their own insecurity. They are not laughing at you. They are laughing to drown out the quiet voice in their own souls that is screaming that they have wasted their potential. You must understand that you are building a machine. That machine is your own psychology. And like any high-performance engine, it runs on fuel. The highest octane fuel available to the human being is the energy of sex transmutation. Hill spoke of this in hushed tones, but we must speak of it clearly. This is not about morality, it is about thermodynamics. The sexual drive is the most powerful creative force in nature. It creates life. When that energy is dammed up, when it is not dissipated in physical indulgence, but is redirected into the mind, it turns into a steam that drives the pistons of genius. Observe the greatest creators, the most magnetic leaders, the wealthiest tycoons. They all possess a high degree of sexual energy, but they do not let it control them. They control it. They transmute that raw, biological urge into the urge to conquer, to build, to sell, to convince. They channel that fire into their voice, into their handshake, into their vision. If you waste this energy, you are throwing away the very battery power of your will. Learn to harness it. When you feel that drive, do not suppress it, but command it. You will not be wasted on a moment of pleasure. You will be invested in a lifetime of power. This is the secret of the sixth sense, the creative imagination that taps into ideas that others cannot see. But even with this energy, you cannot build the empire alone. The myth of the self-made man is a lie. No man is self-made. Every man is the sum of the influences he allows into his mind. If you are trying to command wealth while surrounded by people who are commanding poverty, you are trying to start a fire underwater. You need the mastermind. This is not just a group chat. This is a psychic alliance. When two or more minds come together in a spirit of perfect harmony toward a definite objective, they create a third, invisible mind, the mastermind, which possesses power greater than the sum of the individuals. Think of a battery. A single battery provides a certain voltage. Connect 10 batteries, and you have the power to start an engine. Connect 1,000, and you can light a city. You must find your batteries. You must find the people who vibrate at the frequency of your future, not your past. And this requires a ruthless audit of your circle. Who are you giving your energy to? Are they charging you or are they draining you? If you leave a conversation feeling exhausted, discouraged, or cynical, you have been poisoned. Cut the cord. You cannot afford the luxury of negative friends. You are in the fight of your life. You need allies who will hold the standard high, who will not accept your excuses, who will force you to level up simply by being in their presence. And when you have the mindset, the energy, and the alliance, you will face the final gatekeeper, the illusion of failure. Hill told the story of R.U. Darby, the man who stopped 3 feet from gold. It is a story etched in the tragedy of human history. He dug for the gold, he found the vein, and then the vein disappeared. He dug on desperate, fearful, and finally, he quit. He sold his machinery to a junk man for a few $100s. The junk man called an engineer, who calculated that the vein picked up exactly 3 feet from where Darby stopped digging. 3 feet. That is the distance between the average life and the fortune. The universe has a way of testing your persistence by throwing a veil of failure over the finish line. It is a trick. It is a bluff. Old man failure is a cunning warrior. He delights in tripping you when you are almost there. He wants to see if you will stay down. Most do. They take the temporary defeat as a permanent verdict. But the commander knows the code. Every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent success. When the project fails, it is not the end. It is a pivot. When the money is lost, it is not a funeral. It is a tuition fee for the lesson. You need to learn to manage the millions that are coming. You must develop a relationship with failure that is almost masochistic. You must welcome the resistance because you know that resistance is what makes the muscle grow. You cannot have the strength without the heavy weight. Do not pray for a lighter load. Pray for a stronger back. This resilience is born of auto-suggestion. We return to the command. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between a real physical experience and one that is vividly imagined. If you convince your subconscious that you are a failure, it will sabotage every opportunity that comes your way to prove you right. But if you convince it that you are invincible, it will navigate you through the minefield of disaster without a scratch. You are the programmer. The code is your internal dialogue. Are you writing code that crashes the system or code that optimizes it? I am tired is a virus. I am relentless is an upgrade. They won't like it is a glitch. They cannot ignore me is a feature. You must stand guard at the door of your mind with a flaming sword. Nothing enters that is not in alignment with the decree. And this brings us to the quality of decision. Procrastination is the twin of fear. The habit of putting off until tomorrow what should be done today is the hallmark of failure. The successful execute with speed. They realize that time is not infinite. The graveyard is full of people who had a great idea for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lie. There is only one now. General Grant, during the Civil War, said, "I propose to fight it out on this line if it takes all summer." He did not say, "I'll try for a week and see how it goes." He made a decision that cut off all retreat. He committed to the siege. You must lay siege to your goals. You surround the objective with your focus, your action, your faith, and you refuse to move until the walls come down. It might take a month. It might take 10 years. It does not matter. The time will pass anyway. You can spend that time building a monument, or you can spend it digging a hole. The effort is the same. It takes just as much energy to be miserable as it does to be successful. It takes just as much energy to worry as it does to plan. Why not use the energy for the command? Look at the story of Colonel Sanders. He was 65 years old. He had a Social Security check for $105. He was broke. Most men at that age are preparing to die. He decided to live. He took his chicken recipe and drove across the country. He slept in his car. He was rejected 1,009 times. Can you imagine the humiliation? The doors slamming, the laughter. Go home, old man. But he had the command. He knew his value. And on the 1,010th try, he got a yes. And that yes built an empire. What is your number? Have you been rejected 10 times and think the world is against you? Have you tried twice and decided it's too hard? You have not even begun to fight. You are scratching the surface of your resilience. There is a reservoir of power in you that you have never touched because you have never pushed yourself far enough to need it. When you demand more of yourself, infinite intelligence supplies the resources. It is the law of supply. The supply always meets the demand, but you must make the demand. You must place the order with conviction. And as you march forward, you must maintain the positive mental attitude. This is not a cheesy smile plastered on your face while your life burns down. This is the stoic resolve to see the good in every situation. It is the alchemical ability to look at a disaster and say, "Good. This gives me an opportunity to demonstrate my strength." It is the refusal to play the victim. Victims never command wealth. Victims command pity, and pity does not pay the bills. You must take 100% responsibility for everything in your life. The economy did not ruin you. Your reaction to the economy did. The competitor did not beat you. Your lack of preparation did. This radical responsibility is the heaviest burden you will ever pick up. But once you lift it, you are free. Because if you are responsible for the mess, you are responsible for the masterpiece. You are the problem, and therefore you are the solution. This is the stance of the master. The master blames no one. The master waits for no one. The master needs no permission. He moves with the silent knowledge that the law is on his side. He understands that the universe is not chaotic, it is ordered. It is mathematical. If he plants the seed of corn, he will not get poison ivy. If he plants the seed of wealth, through thought, action, and service, he will reap wealth. It may not come in the season he expects, but the harvest is guaranteed by the laws of nature. So, cultivate patience, not the passive patience of waiting for a bus, but the active patience of the farmer who waters the soil every day, knowing the seed is germinating in the dark. Trust the dark. The dark is where the magic happens. Your wealth is growing in the unseen right now, fed by your belief. Do not dig it up with your doubt. Keep watering. Keep commanding. Keep showing up. When you feel like quitting, remember that is the exact moment the drifter quits. That is the moment the hypnotic rhythm tries to reclaim you. If you push through that specific moment of pain, you break the rhythm. You cross the invisible barrier. You enter the rarefied air of the 2%. The top of the mountain is not crowded. The bottom is crowded. The bottom is where the competition is fierce, fighting for scraps. The top is where the view is clear, where the air is crisp, where the rewards are limitless. The climb is hard, yes. It will demand everything from you. It will demand your old identity. It will demand your comfort. It will demand your excuses. But the view is worth the price. And the price is simply this: the decision to be the one who commands. The decision to never settle for less than your potential. The decision to make your life a testament to what is possible for a human being who aligns with the infinite. You are the author. The pen is in your hand. The ink is your desire. The paper is time. Write a story that will make the angels pause and read. Write a story of triumph. Write a story of command. The 5 minutes are over. Life begins. Walk out that door and take what is yours. And as you step out to claim that destiny, you must understand that the battle is not fought on the streets, in the boardrooms, or on the screens. Those are merely the battlefields where the spoils are collected. The war is fought in the silent, invisible territory of the subconscious mind while you sleep. Napoleon Hill taught us that the subconscious never rests. It is the night shift of your soul, while your conscious mind, that critical, doubting, analytical part of you, shuts down for the night, the giant remains awake. And here lies the most dangerous and powerful secret of the 5-minute command. What is the last thought you hold before you drift into the void of sleep? Most men fall asleep worrying. They replay the failures of the day. They calculate their debts. They visualize the arguments they lost. They feed the giant poison right before leaving him unsupervised for 8 hours. And so, the giant works all night to manifest that worry into physical form. You wake up tired, anxious, and defeated because you spent 8 hours constructing your own prison. The commander operates differently. The commander uses the final 5 minutes of the day to brief the night shift. You must lie in the dark and clear the ledger. You do not bring the mud of the day into the sanctuary of the night. You consciously release the failures. You forgive the enemies, not for their sake, but to cut the anchor that binds you to them. And then, as your brain waves slow down, as you enter that twilight state between wakefulness and sleep, you plant the seed. You repeat your command. You see the vision of your success not as a future hope, but as a present memory. You feel the gratitude of the achievement. You hand the blueprint to the giant and say, "Build this." And while you rest, the infinite intelligence reorganizes the molecular structure of your reality to match that blueprint. You wake up not with anxiety, but with answers. You wake up with the hunch that leads to fortune. This is how you work while you sleep. This is how you bend time. But even with the night shift working for you, you must face the day shift's greatest adversary, the ghost of fear. Hill identified 6 ghosts, but in our modern age, one stands taller and more terrible than the others. It is the fear of criticism. It is the voice that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" We live in an age where criticism has been weaponized. It is algorithmic. It is instant. The moment you raise your head above the crowd, the stones will be thrown. The drifters hate the commander because the commander exposes their laziness. Your success is a mirror in which they see their own failure, and they will try to smash the mirror. You must develop a skin as thick as a rhinoceros and a soul as sensitive as a violin. You must hear the criticism, evaluate it for truth, and if it is false, which it usually is, you must let it burn up in the atmosphere of your indifference. You cannot command wealth if you are enslaved by the need for approval. Approval is the drug of the poor. Respect is the currency of the rich. And respect is earned by standing your ground when the world tells you to kneel. Do not fear the poverty you are leaving behind. Many people stay poor because they are comfortable with the devil they know. They fear the responsibility of wealth more than the misery of lack. They say, money changes people. Yes, it does. It magnifies them. If you are a fool, money will make you a gigantic fool. If you are generous, money will make you a global philanthropist. Money is merely an amplifier of your true nature. Stop fearing your own greatness. You must also understand the instrument of your liberation, the imagination. Hill called it the workshop of the mind. There are 2 kinds. Synthetic imagination, where you arrange old concepts into new patterns. This is how most business is done. You take a phone and a camera, combine them, and you have a smartphone. But there is a higher level, creative imagination. This is the antenna that tunes into the frequency of the infinite. This is where the genius lives. This is where the melody comes to the composer, where the equation comes to the scientist, where the billion-dollar vision comes to the entrepreneur. But this antenna only works when the static of fear is silenced and the vibration of the mind is raised through desire. You must spend time in the workshop every day. You must sit with the problem that is blocking your wealth and simply listen. Stop trying to force the answer with logic. Logic is limited to what you already know. You need an answer from the realm of what you do not yet know. When the idea comes, it often feels dangerous. It feels risky. It feels unlike anything you have done before. That is the signature of the creative imagination. It demands courage. The drifter ignores the hunch because it is uncomfortable. The commander acts on it instantly. And as you act, you will realize that you do not need to know everything. This is the myth of the expert. Henry Ford was once sued by a newspaper that called him an ignorant pacifist. In the courtroom, the lawyers tried to humiliate him by asking him questions about history and philosophy. Ford finally stopped them. He pointed his finger and said, "I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk, and by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask. Why should I clutter up my mind with general knowledge when I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require?" This is the mindset of the commander. You do not need to know how to build the app. You need to know how to command the vision and hire the engineer. You do not need to know the tax code. You need to hire the accountant. Your job is not to be the encyclopedia. Your job is to be the spark. Your job is to hold the definite chief aim so clearly that it magnetizes the specialized knowledge of others to your cause. You are the conductor of the orchestra. You do not need to play the violin, the trumpet, and the drums. You need to know the music. You need to know the tempo. And you need to command the harmony. So, where is your harmony? Is your life a chaotic noise of conflicting desires, or is it a symphony of organized purpose? Wealth is attracted to order. Look at nature. The atoms are ordered. The galaxies are ordered. The seasons are ordered. Chaos is the enemy of creation. If your desk is a mess, your finances are a mess, and your time is a mess, you cannot command wealth. You must create a vacuum of order for prosperity to fill. Clean your house. Organize your accounts. Schedule your hours. Stand up straight. These physical acts are signals to the subconscious that you are ready to receive. And now we are approaching the summit, the moment of truth. You have the tools. You have the mindset. You have the command. But there is one final ingredient without which the bread will not rise. It is the quality of persistence. Hill wrote that, "Persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel." It is the hardening agent. Every person who has ever commanded wealth has walked through the valley of the quit. It is a long, dry, lonely stretch of road where the initial excitement is gone, the critics are loud, the bank account is empty, and the body is tired. This is where 98% of the population turns back. They say, "I tried." But you are not here to try. You are here to triumph. When you are in the valley, you must learn to feed on your own faith. You cannot look to the outside world for validation because the outside world reflects your past, not your future. You must walk by the light of the fire burning inside you. You must take one more step, and then another, and then another. It is the step taken when you are exhausted that counts the most. It is the call made when you are afraid that rings the loudest. It is the video posted when you feel ugly that reaches the most hearts. Because in that moment of weakness, when you override the biological impulse to stop, you signal to the infinite intelligence that you are serious. You prove that you are a vessel worthy of the gold. The universe does not yield to the smart. It does not yield to the talented. It yields to the relentless. Be the person who simply will not go away. Be the person who knocks on the door until the knuckles bleed and then knocks with the head. Eventually, the door must open. Not because it wants to, but because you left it no choice. This is the essence of the command. It is not a request. It is a declaration of identity. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am success. Notice the phrase is, I am, not I will be. I will be pushes it to the future. I am claims it in the now. When Moses asked the Creator for his name, the answer was, I am Tiat I am. It is the ultimate statement of being. When you say I am, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. So, stand tall. The 5 minutes are up, but the era of your command has just begun. Look at your hands. These are the hands that will build the empire. Look at your feet. These are the feet that will walk into the boardrooms, onto the stages, into the lands you will own. Listen to your voice. This is the voice that will speak the words that change lives. Do not let the smallness of your yesterday dictate the vastness of your tomorrow. The past is a ghost. It cannot touch you unless you let it haunt you. Exorcise the ghost. Burn the bridges. Fix your eyes on the horizon. You have the secret. You have the power. You have the command. The world is waiting for the person you are about to become. Do not keep them waiting. Go, and do not look back. The command is yours. The wealth is yours. The life is yours. This is your decree. It is done.